Jennifer with Watercolor Girlfriend again here today. And you saw a little bit of how this painting set is going to come together. We're going to work on this today. And I did this. You saw me drawing out those stencils. And you just have to draw them on some scrap paper yourself, however you want it to lay out. You cut those out simply and easily, and you got a little stencil for an outline. You can make it intricate if you want and draw stuff out of, or cut areas out, but you don't really need to. Part of the usefulness of this is that it sections off an area of your painting. I can draw. I went to art school. I've been a painter and an artist for a long time. I just don't really love to draw realistically. I enjoy doing more types of abstract things, and this allows me to get up and running pretty quick. I can section off an area, and you'll see how I do that going forward in this video with just an outline that I like to use. And you can use an outline of a horse, other things. Another video I'm just using circles. They work great. So you don't always have to buy something like this intricate to work them into your paintings. So we're gonna dive deeper into that. You're gonna see the image again of my stencil, so you can take a look at that. And then we're just gonna go forward and you can see how we painted this lovely setup today. I hope it will inspire you to get out your paints as well, and you can paint right along while we do this, or watch it first and then go grab your sketchbook as well and get some fun painting done. Okay, we'll see you over there. So here's that stencil a little more again, just to give you an idea that it doesn't have to be perfect. I like that kind of free form and kind of squiggly line instead of something exact. And that's kind of why I like to draw my own stencil and then just cut it out. You can see I'm just using a scrap piece of paper, just a regular pencil, and I'm not even putting it, right in the middle. I'm not putting it right on the paper inside of the tape. I'm just going for it and putting it on either side and getting started. I do love white oil pastels. They're a fun addition to blocking out color so that only white shows, and you can do all sorts of interesting loop-de-loops, and you could even do like squares and all sorts of stuff with that. So now I put down the stencil so you can kind of go over those areas. I don't always do that, but then you can go right through the stencil so that the oil pastel comes up, on the other side, and it doesn't fill in that area. Masking fluid is a big part of what I use in my paintings. If you haven't used it before, it can also be called Frisket, and it just kind of works to block out those areas that you want to keep white, or maybe something that you want to fill in with some color later. So you could leave it white and then fill it in, and it will have a more of a brighter tone than if you would go over it later. If you've used, you'll see how we approach this, but if you fill that area in with red and then you take the frisket off and then you fill that other space in with like yellow, that yellow will really pop. And we're not going to put it everywhere. I'm using an old brush just to remember that, I don't know, you can see up close, it's dried there nicely. It does take a little bit. So I just kind of time-lapsed that for you so you didn't have to wait around. So I just wanted to show you that it comes off easily, doesn't leave any marks. But if you wanted to, do the painting the way it is, and you can also use a Q-tip, which I really love. I don't like the waste that it comes with it,
But you could reuse it a few times. It'll have all that sticky gunk on it, but you know, it'll work too, somewhat. I like to keep a selection of colors and a sketchbook with different marks and approaches to different media that I've tried. And then I like to choose from what I've got on my palette, which is also in that journal, that sketchbook. Things that I've tried already. Gives you a good idea. You don't maybe have to reinvent the wheel, I guess. You can just kind of pick some of the things that you already like, pick some of the colors, see how they fill in before you apply it to your painting. Now, I didn't really need to place that stencil there. You'll see more as I go forward how I'm blocking it with the stencil, but I wanted to show you that if I wanted to go over the stencil area, that you could block it out and keep that stencil, the area of the flower behind it, completely white, so you can fill it in without using the blue as a background. So as that dries, it kind of moves around. I like that look. Before it dries, I'm just gonna use some green here, and I've decided to, kind of do blues and greens in the backgrounds and reds, oranges, yellows for the flower. And maybe it doesn't always have to be an organic shape. You could do some, squares or hard lined edges like this that I'm doing right here. It can be whatever you like. That's part of why I love abstract painting. You really can enjoy just the process without having to focus on, oh my gosh, am I doing it right? You don't need a separate piece of wood or a stick or anything to draw any lines with your paint. You just use some, whatever you've got. Back of the brush works great. And I like to incorporate different colors, and you can do like straight lines or circles or whatever. So that dried nicely, and I'm going to dive into the colors of the flower there. You see that red, it's actually more like a magenta, brighter pink. That's going to fill right in over those little dots I used with the masking fluid earlier. It'll resist it real nicely. You can also use like a crayon or the oil pastel again. It's not going to give you as quite a tight circle or as white of an area. It's not going to block it out completely. I do love that. I'm just not doing it in this area. I did it with the white, and I'm incorporating some Caran d'Ache. It's always been a hard one for me to pronounce. Caran d'Ache. Water soluble crayons. They're really fun too, and they kind of glide right through that water. And a little liquid watercolor, which you probably could make your own and get just a little dropper, which I don't think I have here right now. And you could just, pick up some of that paint that you have in your palette and drop it into some of the other wet paint. That could certainly look great as well. I like the line work of the pencil, and it's a little different than the watercolor or the crayons. It's a completely different type of media, and I like the really thin gray lines. I think that incorporates nicely, kind of just totally different, right, than the colorful stuff that you're putting down. All of these layers are things that create interest. If you just stopped when it's kind of one layer, it can look a little, maybe childish or amateurish. There's certainly a room for that, right? There's plenty of great paintings that incorporate that kind of style. But for this kind of work, I like to incorporate a lot of different levels to the painting. I think it's fun. I think it looks nice. I think it looks rich. I think it draws your eye in and creates an area, a lot of different areas that your eye can enjoy looking at the painting. It's got a lot of levels to it. It's rich, and honestly, from the artist's point of view, as a watercolor painter, it's really fun. If you stop too soon, sometimes you kind of, maybe it's missing something, or, I still want to keep working. So that's kind of why you'll see a lot of different textures and line work, colors going on top of each other and not kind of on just a flat plane. But you see how I put that yellow right there, right over the red? It's called layering or glazing. And it's sometimes it can get muddy. You'll see that a little of the orange and the red come together. Maybe even some of the blue have bled in. You see up there, it's a little dark. Oh, I added some stencil work. And now I'm going to take that masking fluid off so you can see that nice hard line under there. But getting back to like the layering, you see that it creates that depth I was talking about and that interest. I got to come up with another word for interest as well, because you use it a lot in these types of pieces. So there's, quite a bit on here, and sometimes you want to use the little bits on top of the other bits that are still stuck on there to get those off. It is a lot like rubber cement. This makes a tighter circle. You could try using rubber cement and see what you think. For both of those, don't leave them on too long. Even overnight is probably plenty. We're in a drier climate too, so it could start to become one with the paper. This is a heavier paper, which I really love working with. It allows you to do this kind of thing without pilling or tearing or getting a funny fuzzy kind of look to the paper. Everything sits real nice. I do use a binder clip often though. Can you see that? I use a binder clip to keep the paper from buckling up. It will kind of curl a smidge, and this helps prevent that. So I decided to use yellow. It's bright and cheery and happy. And then it really pops when you put it over the white instead of if you put it over the red. It's a lovely look as well. It's very nice. It's just different, and I use both types of scenarios. I need a little more of my liquid watercolor. I'm pretty fond of this stuff as well. I just ordered another green, and I'm very excited about that. It can't come fast enough. And you just, use a Q-tip or use a brush. You could use a stamp if you wanted to stamp it in the watercolor instead of using ink. There's so many possibilities working abstractly. You can see how it goes over the red as well to create a rich color with the red and the pinkish and the yellow, kind of an orangey dark red. It's very nice. I'm very fond of that. I'm just going to fill in all of these, and that's kind of it. We're just gonna fill them all in. If you want to find some other videos on my channel where I do this kind of thing, I have a lot of great stuff, and I'm bringing on more and more videos to use these supplies and just show you how to have fun with watercolor painting and kind of just relax and get out of your head, which is, it can be kind of nice, right? So I wanted to kind of shape around. I did draw a couple of circles in the middle of these, kind of the middle of the flower. I kind of wanted to move these around. Oh, I wish that light didn't reflect as much. I'm going to have to work on that. I apologize that. You can see it kind of now though better. And kind of like work in some of the white areas. And this is another liquid watercolor. It's a really bold orange. It just, again, it kind of pops. It gives you some contrast with what's going on. Instead of having all the same tone, that can also help make your images look a little more professional, right? And it's not all the same tone, and it varies. I also enjoy using different kinds of watercolor pencils. This is just a yellow, going over some of the darker areas. Creating some other, I think I had some salt on there still, which I forgot to mention that I added some salt. It didn't work as great as I like, and sometimes that happens. And sometimes I think my salt is kind of crummy. Maybe I have to get some kosher or, some big chunky salt. But it does create other textures. I just love all the textures. Here's some line work. Here's some texture created by the salt. Here's some texture created by the different colors going over each other, and from the different ways you lay down the paint. I just can't say enough good things about it. It's just really fun. And these aren't huge. These are only about 3.5 by 3.5. So you can easily put them in your sketchbook. You can travel with this. You put together a little kit, and you take a little travel palette, bring a couple of different pencils, easily put that in a small bag, and away you go. So I love to encircle whatever circles I got going on. Circles a big thing for me. I like to incorporate circles. I also like stars, so I need to get on that and incorporate stars into some stuff. We'll have to bring some of those up on the paintings. And now I just want to keep working the background, and I really enjoy teal, and see how I just let it go over the petal of the flower. Why not? It looks great. I think it's interesting. Okay, if anybody has a better word, let me know. You don't want your painting to look uninteresting though. So I'm filling in some of these other white spaces because I thought they were competing too much with the rest of the painting, if that makes sense. So when you look at the painting, it was a lot of white still that you focused on when you looked at the painting, and you couldn't really bring your eye to enjoy what I had created in the first place. So I thought filling it in a little bit more, going over some of that pencil work that I did, going over those the oil pastel. You can see where I drew over the oil pastel in yellow in the bottom right of the left painting. So, another layer is created, constantly layering. And, some always, they don't always work. You just blot it out, or, make it look like something else. It doesn't always come together until you've worked it a little while. I'm going right over some of those petals. It makes things darker, again, giving you some of that rich feel of the colors. These, love these, just got these watercolor brush markers. They also have a thin, really thin on the other side of the marker. And again, it's a watercolor, but it goes down pretty rich, but you can go over it with the water there, and then you kind of scrub it, but not just even gently, and remove it, blot it out. Oh, great texture. And you can see how well the paper stands up. It doesn't, again, it doesn't buckle, it doesn't tear. Buckling is the worst. And then, you know, and just taking in so much of the water, you just overwhelm the paper. This one wants to stick a little more in this area. Yeah, it's fine. Looks great. Love it. I love it. It's such a fun. I was glad when I found these. I found them. I'm whispering. Maybe you can't hear me. I found them at Walmart. Under $12 by us. And I'm sorry, I don't have them right in front of me. I think King something. But they are archival, acid-free. I was kind of surprised when I saw them at Walmart. I hope that they're a well-made brand and I can stand behind giving you that referral of that product. If anybody knows anything about those, please fill me in. So I'm enjoying how this painting is coming together. Sorry, it's cut off on the bottom there. I have since put down a piece of tape again so that you can see all the painting, because that's what you came here for. I'm just going to do a little more on the background and get that finished. You know, you can find me over on Instagram too and see these completed and look at them a little more closely. That's kind of a nice way to use Instagram. You know, move over there after you've seen how it's worked here on YouTube. Okay, I needed more pencil. Needed that. Love it, love it. All right, now I've been meaning to incorporate some line work into some of my paintings. Not sure how I'm loving it. Some of them I'm thinking, yeah, this is great. And then, I don't know. I didn't love how this middle part that I'm working on right now turned out, honestly. But I know some things over the years how to fix paintings. So you're going to see that I'm going to use my paintbrush and some water and kind of eliminate the harsh line of the ink. So it's a Pilot. You see the precise, and it's a fine roller ball. Love this pen marker thing. I talk about it in a number of my videos, so you might have heard me go on and on about them. Doesn't want to go over that oil pastel. So, and remember, just my journal, so I can just use the sides if I want to. And again, I like to create different textures, and I do this in my other paintings when I paint, like for travel images and location, landscape type work. I enjoy using that. But as I work this, I didn't love it, but I wanted to love it. I want to incorporate more pen work. So I did a little more because I wanted to replicate, you know, kind of balance it out with the other line work that I did. I don't know that if I used a different hatch mark I would like it better. Anybody got any suggestions? Maybe a thicker marker. This I really didn't like. This little section in the middle. It's too, it's not done. And I don't want to add any more line. So I'm just going to paint it. And this I really liked. I liked the bleed, the black, that it became less sharp of a line, and I just kind of spread it around a little more, and that I was really fond of. And then I thought it pretty much came together and was looking good. So I'm gonna, you know, take the tape off. I'm pretty happy with this. I'll zip through this real quick for you. I've been using blue tape and like getting all the, I put it on my shirt and then get some of the fuzzy so that it doesn't stick as much to the painting. But the green tape, I think a lot of people, we like this green tape. I wish their packaging wouldn't be so excessive. So whoever works there, please stop doing that. All right, so here it is. That's pretty much finished. I'm pretty pleased with how it's turned out. And yeah, I hope you'll follow me and watch some more of these fun videos. Thanks for joining us. Have a good day. So that came together nicely. It's fun to work in the sketchbook. It really keeps you from getting a little too serious and concerned that you're gonna like ruin that paper. You can just dive in and enjoy having a good time. It's easy to take with you. All the good stuff, it doesn't have to be like a big deal. Oh, I can see I couldn't get that off earlier. That's from the liquid watercolor. So if that bothers you, you know, wear some gloves once in a while. It's on the brush or whatever. Okay, I hope you had a great time, and I hope you'll join us for some more videos. See you later. Bye.